Miguel, Vicky37, your car is here, ready for the dyno. And then George.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for keeping us busy and also keep us consistent business. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah.
It is.
Do it.
But it looks a little smaller though, maybe. That's really weird. What the fuck is this thing? This thing looks like is it from the head or some shit?
Ew.
Yo,
Starbucks way.
look at that shit.
Jesse's done building the motor. He's putting everything back. And he told me that there's no filters or nothing. They just run it open. Pretty dangerous. And then the coupler, silicone coupler, is going to be next to the exhaust manifold, the turbo manifold. So that's going to heat up and cause problems. But that's how they have it. First start, supposedly. What's up, guys? I have this twin turbo 350Z HR. The motor is built. This car is originally built by somebody else, and it was tuned by someone else. They flew in from out of state to tune it, I believe, a couple times. You know, I'm gonna try and stay away from any sort of like bashing or something about another tuner. You guys know that I don't do that. I just, you know, speak the facts, and all the information I gather is from the owners of the car. Every car I retune from another tuner, you know, when you come down or even through the DM, I ask you a bunch of questions. The more history I have, the better. And you guys understand that. You guys eventually understand, like, oh, now I know why he's asking me these questions. He's trying to help me fix my car. You know, he's trying to help me fix my car, so when he tunes it, you know, everything's good. He could figure out if it's just tune related or there's an actual problem with the car. There's been some cars that I will retune, and I tell you guys, like, oh, you know what? It had nothing to do with the other person's tune. It was a part or something, or it was something they could have done. They should have told you, but that comes with experience. So there could have been nothing wrong with somebody's tune, but maybe they could have told you from experience, like, oh, I think it's this or that. Obviously, sometimes not that easy. It could be, you know, 100 different things why you have a certain problem with the car. But I think you guys know what I'm getting at. So you need the experience to see, you know, what part is messed up, or if not, then it's the tune. And obviously you don't know until you start retuning the car. When you start retuning the car and you're like, oh, okay, I'm not getting the same problem I'm not getting the same problem the owner of the car was when it was tuned by somebody else, and nothing happened during tuning and nothing happened during the next couple of days, then obviously it was tune related. But anyways, this one here, the motor is built by somebody else, nowhere near here. And the owner of the car was talking to me before they built the motor with this other person, and I knew he was going to tune with someone else, you know, and he asked me, what did I think about it? And I did answer. It doesn't matter where he's going, you know. So I actually told him, you know what, like, that's not the right setup. So I'm not gonna say who told him to get these specific parts and build it exactly like that. I'm not gonna go into detail about what is wrong with the setup. I'm not gonna say anything like that, because those are just like, you know, I'm not going to give away all the answers. But someone in particular told him to get specific parts, and I told him, you know, that's wrong. The information is wrong. But even though I wasn't going to tune it, I told him which parts he should get, and, you know, he could tell his tuner. So he tried to cancel the parts, but the company had already shipped everything out. So of course, you know, they're not gonna take the parts back or get a refund, or believe he returned it even if everything was closed, unopened. They're still going to charge a restocking fee. So he had to use the parts that specific person told him to do it. And so you already have the wrong setup. Then I actually don't know who built the motor. I just know it was nowhere near here. It was, I don't know, 8 hours away from here, from this location. And a lot of the stuff was not, man, I don't know how to say this. Like, because you can put the parts back together, but it could not be done correctly, or it could be done the wrong way. I guess it's the same thing. So I will give you some examples. So I know you you guys from other tuners will be watching this video. So for example, there is so much gasket maker silicone everywhere inside the motor, everywhere. Not like inside the motor, like the pistons and all that, or the oil pan, but well, the oil pan, yeah, but not like inside the oil pan, around the oil pan. There's an excessive amount. The timing cover, water pump, like that's not things you use the silicone on. Or if you're gonna do it, at least not so much. But there's a lot of parts in here that come off during building, and they had a bunch of silicones like on parts you don't need it. It needs the OEM gasket on there. I'm basically just surprised like there's no silicone here or here. It was just too much. Those things, it won't cause any problems during tuning. Water, it wasn't overheating at the time. I believe the car was tuned a few times already. And this one here, if you watch George's story, so I'm not bashing the tuner. The car ran, he raced it. So yeah, good job to the tuner for getting it running and getting the power that it made. But yeah, it did run after they tuned it. As far as I know, it had no issues. I don't know, but like I said, I'm not bashing anyone. When the motor was taken apart, some of the pistons, they had detonation on it. So that would be from the tune, but that's it. Like, it's just what I said, and that's it. Nothing else to it. Not bashing anyone. That's just the fact, and that's it. And we can move on from that. So let's move on from what I just said. And Jesse here removed everything, and he had to clean up all the extra silicone. There was like some loose things in there. It's just a mess. It's just a big mess for the future of this motor. And they try to fix it as good as possible. And the thing that sucks is it's kind of setting me up for failure when I tune this car, because it's still the wrong parts. So, like I said, it's hard to explain. I don't want to give away too much information because of experience and stuff. But there are some parts in there that I specifically had told him before he even, had it tuned by someone else, not to get those parts. But again, he had already ordered it. They had shipped it out. He couldn't really cancel it. So I'm tuning it on the exact same setup. It's just, everything was put back together better. And there were a couple things that were changed on here. But some of the main things, it's like, basically being set up for failure right here. So the motor can still get damaged. So even if whoever put this motor together originally did it correctly, it was still gonna get damaged even if it was tuned by the other person. Let's just say with the other, I didn't want to bring this up, but let's just say with the other tuner, they tuned it where it did not start detonating. It didn't matter. It was still gonna get damaged. It's just, you don't know when. So that would have been whoever put it together. So hope you guys understand what I'm trying to tell you here. Basically, regardless, the motor is not set up for this setup, for this twin turbo setup. So you have to understand, when you build motors, you can just throw the parts at it, and if it bolts on, it bolts on, But you need specific parts and the motor to work with everything else. The car is in A, it's a little different. You know, you can get into details like headwork and cams, blah, blah, blah. Scavenging is a stupid word anyways. But yeah, still has the wrong parts. So, you know, this could literally still just blow up. It could blow up on the dyno. It could blow up a week later. He could have problems. It could start overheating. The parts are not there. The supporting parts are not there. So just gonna do our best. And the owner of this car actually requested, because I believe he said he just wants to sell it, but I don't know. He's told me that like a million times when the car was tuned by someone else. He said that he just wants to sell it. He wants it running, lower the boost, make it as reliable as possible. But I mean, this is the wrong setup. So I mean, do like 10 pounds or something, you know. But you know you're gonna start racing. You're gonna turn up the boost. Like it's not gonna work out. You already missed driving your car, you know. So it's, you know, that it's gonna be running as best as possible now, even though it's the wrong supporting mods in the motor. But yeah, so I don't know. I feel like he's not really gonna sell it anytime soon. He's probably just gonna keep it because he already spent a lot of money, and you know, right now it's hard for people to get money. So even if he puts it up for sale, you know, you still have to get the buyer. The buyer has to have the money. So you'd have to get lucky enough for someone to have the money, or they can get a loan or something to buy your car, because you already spent a lot of money into it. So obviously you're not going to sell it for cheap. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff to be said, but I'm just not going to say it because it's just basically like I'll be bashing people, and that's not what I do. Even though these are facts and stuff like that, you guys already know how I am. Man, the train is so annoying, man. I'm just gonna put a curse on that train. Anyways, yeah, like I said, you guys already know. I'm just repeating myself again. You know, maybe an ad will show up now or something. I get a couple extra dollars now because I'm making the video longer. Yeah, so you guys know that I just speak the facts. So it's different when someone will say something bad about somebody else and there's like no facts, no one said it, they just made it up. Maybe there's no proof. You guys already know how it goes. Like I said, all my videos, I get the information from the customers. Sometimes they'll send me proof, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. The reason I'm just repeating this is because I'm not here to bash the tuner. Like I said, I only said like the one or two things like I said earlier. I'm not going to repeat it. And then I said, that's it. So the conversation is over for that. I put a startup file on it already. The car starts, it idles. He did say it had an idle problem, but I'm not too sure what he means by that. I don't know if he means it had idle surge or the idle was just steadily high. I'm not sure. I have to ask him on that. That could be a tuning thing. Not a big deal. Again, not blaming anyone, but it could not. It could just be maybe it had vacuum leaks or blah, blah, blah. You know, there's a lot of reasons why the idle would be high. Other than that, you guys know that the HR ECUs are notorious for high idle, even if you get it fixed. This just might be just old parts. Like the best thing to do, if you have the money, you just get everything new. You get another ECU, another harness, throttle bodies, you know, try and get it as new as possible. Eliminate any variables for that idle. There's been times where it's literally just the throttle bodies. I've had it where it's the harness, you know, but we do all the diagnostics here, what they do, you know. And I said in another video, so for any new subscribers, George's business is separate from my business. Both businesses are legit. I have my area, he has his area. We share the building. We help each other out. We share knowledge and experience. You know, sometimes when I'm not using my space that I pay for, I let him use it to diagnose cars so you guys can have your cars out faster. There's a lot of things that I do that are not in my favor. I don't get paid for. It takes up a lot of my time. And no one really knows these things. If you know me, like personally, you know that this is how I am. I'm very helpful. But there's a lot of things that even they don't know that I do that helps out other people. So when like my spot is taken up and I have a tune, you know, and they're in the middle of it. So at the end of the day, it is my spot. So if I have to tell them, hey, you have to move it no matter what, it's not fair to them because they're working on it. I don't want to interrupt them. So I just let them work on it. And worst case scenario, I could just offer my customer a street tune and get the car tuned. Or sometimes like I'll have the project cars where, if you've seen my other videos, for example, it'll have a cam job, and obviously you need a tune for aftermarket cams. So if there's a car here, I'll just take it on the street and I'll do 80 to 90% of the tune on the street. So maybe by the time I come back, my area is free, and then I'll finish it off on the dyno. So there's a lot of things that I do. There was another video where I told you guys I'll help George diagnose some cars, and I don't even get paid for it. I don't ask him for anything. You know, why am I gonna do that? Like that, he helps me out sometimes with things, so I'll help him out with things. This one, George finally said again, well, he brought up recently, he's gonna try a dash harness. I think he said he's waiting for it to come now. I don't even know what I said in my previous video about this car, but I know I told you guys that he was gonna take the dash off. So, but I don't know if he said that he got the harness or he's waiting for the, my hand. He's waiting for the dash harness to come in. I hope that's what it is. I don't know. We all know he's gonna be mad if that's not what it is. Obviously, you know, he doesn't charge the customer for the harness. If the harness is not the issue, he's not gonna charge the customer for it. That's how he is. Some shops will charge you for it. He's not like that. So basically done talking about that car right there, the twin turbo one. So if you want to exit the video, that's fine. If you're spying on my YouTube channel, don't worry, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. You know, I didn't say anything bad. I'm just going to talk about some other things. So, because I know you guys like to, I see in the comments sometimes, or sometimes you guys will DM me, you'll tell me like, you like this behind the scenes sort of thing. It's not like when you watch these other YouTube videos and all this like music and like super editing, and yeah, it looks cool and stuff. Oh, you get all excited. They use these big words that they don't even know what it means. I'll watch these videos from like other shops, not tuning. So I'm gonna say not tuning, but other shops. Not from other shops that do tuning, but just other shops that like install parts and stuff. And man, they're like using all these, yeah, they're using words that are real and they exist and they're the correct words, but they don't even know what it means. It's just crazy. So you guys as the customers, you see it and you're like, oh, they're using all these big words, they got to know what they're doing. So bro, those cars end up over here because they couldn't fix it. Anyways, we some of the stuff they've done here, for example, is they'll get cars. It's really annoying though, especially for them. They'll get cars that haven't ran literally for years. I'm talking about 5 years. I think the longest one we've had, it didn't run for 12 years. And they got it running in a day or two. It was a DE. I think it was a red one. I think I mentioned it in another video. It might have been 8 years. But I keep remembering like 12. But a couple of days ago, we did have, man, this has been like 17 minutes already. There has been recently, a couple of days ago, I think there was a blue one. Z, and it had no motor, like no seat, no nothing. So like they had to get it running, and there's always spiders in them, and it just smells. And you know, it's like you guys want it to run, okay, they'll get it to run, and then it turns on, and you're just like, oh, all these lights are on. They weren't on before. Bro, your car hasn't been running for like a decade. Like, how do you know that light wasn't on? You know, you guys want it like, not all of you, but some of you want it like 100% like brand new out of the dealer, 0 miles with brand new paint. You brought it in with like no doors. You brought it in and there's like rats inside and it smells nasty. They got the car running. You should be happy. The rest is up to you. That has nothing to do with you know, George's side. He got the car running. You came in because you wanted the car running. The car starts. You want like him to provide you with like a new steering wheel or new doors or a new seat. It's like you didn't even have that when you came in. You know, so these are some of the things that these guys get. Of course, most of you understand. You bring it in and you're like super happy. Oh, it finally runs, blah blah blah. And like I hear you guys talking to George. You're like, yeah, I'm a stereo or get new seats or something or carpet. It's like you understand how it is that how you brought the car and now it runs, you know? So if something else is wrong, then it needs diagnostics, you know? anyways, if there's something you guys would like me to talk about from like behind the scenes, you could just write it in the comments. Because apparently that's what you guys like. You guys like to see how you guys like to see, and you see that my style is different for filming, because you get to see how it is without the BS. You know, a lot of these other shops or YouTubers, they they don't even know what they're talking about. Like sometimes I'll tell people what I did to fix their car, and yes, I am talking about literally like some of the cars that I'll tune, and then they'll tell me, "Oh, go watch my YouTube video." Okay, yeah, I'll go watch it for sure. I'll go support you. I'll give it a thumbs up, and I'll go, and I'm just like, that's not what I told you how I fixed it, and you're using words that looks like you went to Google. You Google tuning and you started using random words. That's not what I told you. And then in the comments, I'll read your comments and people are agreeing with you, and it's like, that means they don't even know what you're talking about because you said the wrong stuff. So the reason I bring that stuff up is because, again, just so many like people in general, they just start using the words you're supposed to use. Let's just say like, oh, big words, whatever, and you're not using it correctly. You're just using it to make it sound like you're smart. So I did want to make this video a little longer. You know, maybe you guys could use it to fall asleep at nighttime. You know, not much action, just talking here. I also do want to make a video of how me and George met. So that will be another video because this video is already too long. Some of you might have already left the video. I mean, I would have too. It's too much talking. I don't know how long that one will be. I'm gonna see if I can include like some stories or something. Summary of it is pretty quick, but I've actually had that asked a bunch of times on Instagram. When I put ask me a question, you guys will ask me, how did I meet George? So sometimes when you guys come here to the shop, whether you're tuning with me or you just have like your car here to get fixed, sometimes you guys will ask me like questions like that. And I don't mind answering it, but I'm just usually busy. You'll always see me, like if you're here waiting, you'll see me always like walking around and stuff, sometimes running around, or I'm just all over the shop walking around. There was one time there's a guy came from really far to get his car diagnosed, and so he obviously didn't have a ride back. I think he lived 2 hours away, so he was just chilling here in the sofa outside. Some of you hang out over there at the wall where there's shade. There's shade over here too, but sometimes there's like gnats over here, and they're really annoying. But he saw me like running around. Like I'll go into the office, I'll come back out. I had a customer that came in. You know, I had to like do something. I'll go back in the office. I'll come out 2 minutes later. Another customer showed up. He got the flame map. I'll go back in. I'll come out like in 30 minutes. Another guy got the crackle map. I'll go back in the office. He saw that George asked me for help on something outside. And then there was a car that was over here, for example, like this 370. And I believe I was just checking something out for George because George was busy. So sometimes, like I said, I try to help him. So I believe I was scanning for codes on that one while he was busy. He didn't ask me to. I just overheard him that's what he was going to do. So I thought I would scan for codes and take a picture of it and send it to him. And even though he's here, I'm going to send it to him in the DM so he has it. And that way, when he gets off the phone, you know, the codes are already scanned. He doesn't have to waste time. So I was doing that, and then the guy that was on the couch, he was just like, man, like, you're just running around. Like, how do you even have time to, like, look at the DMs? And it's just like, you know, it's like he saw, like, how busy I am. And it's just like, I just look at him in between stuff. So maybe if I'm turning on my computer, my laptop, then literally while it's turning on, I'll just go look at my messages real quick. But, you know, this is a newer laptop, so they turn on pretty fast. So I just try to do it in between. And then sometimes I'm just like, no, I'm not going to go out there. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to go in the office, answer a few DMs, and then go back to email tunes, and then go back to the miscellaneous stuff, you know. So I'm just very busy. And honestly, okay, so I was going to go back to this car, but I'm not going to talk about anything else. Other than this, I don't like this. I don't know if you guys like it. I mean, obviously he probably liked it. He bought it, or I don't know if he said it came with it. But this is blocked off. Like you can't see. I know he said that came like that. He didn't do it. You go in there, you can't use the mirror, the rear view mirror. You can't see anything. Well, at least you have a camera back there, but not while you're driving. So I don't know. I don't like this. Like this style. It's not like the brand. It's just obviously they all look almost the same. I just don't like that. You already can't see with these. You guys already know. Anyway, so I hope to tune this car pretty soon. Hopefully it has no problems. I don't know. Maybe I'm not even gonna tune it because I don't know. Maybe some problems are gonna arise on there. I'm not too sure, but it already has a startup file anyways, and hopefully we can tune it and it runs good. No more problems. Again, it's just the wrong setup. So something's still gonna happen. Just might last a little longer this time. But anyways, I think that's it for this, unless I start talking about something else. But thank you guys for listening. Hopefully you guys fell asleep. Have a good night. Oh, hello. Actually, wake up, guys. I did want to talk about something that you guys will see, like how dumb it is, how stupid. And but anyways, so let's just imagine that we have no conversations in the DM. So it's blank. You message me asking about tuning for a price. So let's just say you send me all the car information, and obviously most of you have DM'd me already. Some of you don't have Instagram according to the YouTube comments. So let's just assume you sent me all the info. You know, you're pretty smart and you're just like, oh, let me send at least what I got in the car, what type of car I have. Because some of you don't even send me anything. You're just like, how much for a tune? I'm like, I don't know. I don't tune Prius. Like, you know, or some of you are just like, oh, how much for a tune for a D? It's like SR20D, SR20 DT. You know, DE does not mean it's a VQ. So let's assume, again, you send me the car info. You're smart enough to do that, or courteous to do that. And obviously, well, I don't know if you need like an email tune or you're going to come on the dyno here. I don't know. So I ask you, are you in California? I'm not asking you for your address. I'm not asking you for a city. The city might help determine things sometimes when you schedule. And I'm just like, okay, this guy doesn't live too far. So that's good. I should expect them to come on time. You know, things like that. So I never asked you for your address. I don't even ask you for the city, but the city kind of does help me, like I said. Anyways, so I just ask you, are you in California? And the second question I might ask you is, you know, is it auto or manual transmission? So remember this, there's no DMs, it's blank, it's completely blank. You ask me a question, you send me the right info, that's the first message. The second message in the whole DM is me asking you 2 questions, only 2. And for some reason, at least 70% of you will always ignore the "are you in California" part. Like, why? Why do you guys do that? I need to know you're in California so I know what information to give you. Because if you're in California, that means, okay, this guy most likely wants a dyno tune, you know? If you tell me no, then okay, it's automatically an email tune. So that's why I asked. It's common sense. So what I'm getting at is you can't miss it. If you miss it and you just sent me like, oh, it's automatic, and you don't put it's California, that you live in California or you're out of state, you need an email tune. Or I understand that maybe you don't know why I'm asking that, but if you could just answer it, just say yes, no, or just say no, you're in Nevada or something, which, you know, the other percentage of people do that. That would be great if you did, so I can give you the proper information. But anyways, the other part of this conversation is, so again, 2 questions. You decide to just pick one out of the 2. I will absolutely not continue the conversation if you don't answer my questions. If you notice that, I will not continue the conversation if you don't answer my questions. There's no reason for me to continue. Those are not optional questions or answers that I need. They are required. So I'm not going to repeat myself, because now you know why I'm saying this. There's literally 2 messages in the whole thread. If you missed it, maybe you're driving, whatever, maybe you were sleepy. you're going to go back and be like, hey, this guy hasn't answered me. So you're going to open the DM again, and you're going to be like, oh, he asked me 2 questions. It's like, there's a big space. It says, are you in California? And I'll space it out like 5 lines, and then I'll put, is it auto or manual? And you guys just skip the top one and go to the bottom one. And sometimes I'll just space it out with 2, and you guys will still skip it. So it's no matter what, it's just, I don't know, you guys don't like to answer that. And then you guys will go back and send me question marks. I'm going to open it, and I'm not going to answer you because I'm not going to repeat myself. It's literally 2 questions. And some of you might be like, oh, well, that's not good. That's not good business. Well, what are you going to do about it? Nothing. You can't. You don't like it, then just don't keep messaging me. It's just like, it's 2 messages. It's 2 questions. Just answer the question. There's nothing personal. And then most of you will go back and be like, oh, my bad. I didn't answer you. It's like, yeah, because you probably screenshotted our conversation. You sent it to someone I've already tuned. And you're like, hey, so I was not answering me. Like, did I do something wrong? And they're like, yeah, you didn't answer his question. You know, but that's one of the things that's pretty annoying. So I don't even bother. I just don't answer. I don't answer back until you answer that question, because there's only 2 questions there. An update on this one. This is, I guess we were waiting on this as well. I didn't know. I thought we were only waiting on the radiator because it's leaking from the bottom. So we were waiting on this as well, but we're still waiting on the radiator. So, all right, guys. So I actually do have another thing to talk about in regards to tuning and trying to figure things out, and like kind of how it happened and how I do things, and you know, I just help out. So I don't know if you watch my YouTube videos, but you have a G37 and you're having transmission problems, and I tuned the car. But he told me that he had those transmission issues with the previous tuner. So he was tuned by somebody else, somebody here in SoCal, and well, they don't really know what they're doing. Anyways, so let's continue from that. They're not experienced at all. So he had a few concerns, and I tuned it, and the car runs good. It runs great. In manual mode, it works 100% good. Just in drive and automatic, it has issues in the higher gears. So I believe it temporarily went away after I tuned it, but it started happening, and it happens all the time. Again, in manual mode, it works perfectly fine. So I started asking him a bunch of questions. So this is about like a month after I tuned the car, because he got the transmission replaced. So he got the transmission replaced, and it does the same thing. Obviously, it's a used tranny. They still make those new though, the 7 speeds. So he got the transmission replaced, and it has the same issue, and it goes into limp mode. So I scheduled something for him to come. I was curious on some things. I did find some issues in the ROM file for tuning, and I went ahead and did some things to try to fix it, because those are things that the tuning software company messed up on. So I manually went in. This is 3-4 in the morning. Okay, so 3-4 in the morning, and I'm trying to do a list of things for this guy that I'm not even going to charge him for. 3-4 in the morning, and I'm just looking at the ROM file, and I find some things that I know that don't look normal. And I know this because, you know, I have the experience, and I was checking some things. It didn't look normal. These are things that, as a tuner, 99.9% of the time, you're not going to touch these specific settings. I'm not going to go into details. You don't touch these at all. And in order to access these settings, you have to actually enable it through another option. Once you do that, the other settings show up. So as you can see, you have to enable it somewhere else. These other tables show up, and that's how you do it. So it's not, you never need to change. I've never changed it ever. These settings do not apply for performance. So I saw it, and I was like, okay, well, I know that the data entered is incorrect. So possibly their software translated the information wrong. So I put in the information that should be in there. I saved the file, scheduled the guy in to come in, and I had a list of, you know, a few things to try out, and I explained it to him. that I was gonna try some things out, and if he can go try and duplicate the problem. So he came. I uploaded the file where I put the correct data in there that should have been done from the software company from the beginning, and it still had the same problem. So I was hoping that was it, because it actually was some of the tables related to the transmission, and that wasn't it. So I was like, okay, damn. So I went and I tried a completely different ECU, a completely different software. I just made up a tune off the top of my head. Made his car start with the other ECU. He test drove it. It didn't work. I tried another thing. Actually, that was the last thing. In between, I tried something else, and it wouldn't go into limp mode anymore, but it would still have like transmission problems. So I was like, okay, so I tried these things. Let me ask him some more questions. So at this point, we know it has nothing to do with my tune. It has nothing, because it was already happening before. It has nothing to do with the tuning software, because now I'm using a different tuning software. We know it has nothing to do with his original ECU, because I'm using a different ECU. So if you see like the process I did right there, and then I asked him, hey, did it do it when it had no tune? And he said no, it never ever did it. It happened after he got his tune by the other tuner over here. Okay, so you might think, oh, it was the tuner. Well, maybe, I don't know. I'm just asking questions so I can, go through the steps in my head. So my next question, and these aren't questions I had prepared. I'm just asking these questions as I'm asking them and he's answering them. So my next question was, okay, how long after you got the tune with the other tuner did the transmission start doing that? And if he told me right away, the couple days, then most likely it was the tune. There's a higher chance of me saying, oh, okay, right there and then, yeah, most likely it was the tune. He said it happened about a month later. Oh, okay, well, kind of throws you off right there, because it could still be the tune. They are inexperienced, so and the cars NA doesn't produce, like 1,000,000 horsepower, 1,000,000 torque, so it's gonna take the punishment for a while. So he said it happened about a month later. So I'm like, okay, kind of back to square one in a way. So again, we know it's not the ECU, blah, 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 not the software. And so he got, like I said, he got another transmission and it does the same thing. So I did some research, and it seems like a lot of people are having, not a lot, but there's a good amount of people having this problem for that specific year that he has, which is 11 and 12. I've never came across this problem all these years. This is the first time. Now that this guy's having those issues and I looked it up, I guess it's there. Most of the cars online were stock. So it could be that the person who first tuned it didn't tune the transmission correctly. So, wear and tear took time. Very common for inexperienced tuners. So anyways, let's move forward. He got a new tranny and it has the same problem. So it could literally be that this tranny he bought, which is used, it could also be messed up as well. That could be why it's causing that. That would be a big coincidence though, as we've never really seen the specific problem with this transmission, the way it goes into limp mode and then it starts doing specific things in certain only in certain gears. So first time experiencing this, and hopefully we can find the problem and add that to our list of experiences. So next time a car like that comes in, which they might start coming in like that, whether they're tuned or not, obviously, because it seems like it's not tune related, we can already fix it quicker. So the transmission has warranty, so obviously it started doing the problem right away, so he should be able to get it warranted. If they send him another one, does the same thing, then obviously something's wrong with the car. It could be wiring, maybe something's wrong with the harness, literally something with the harness, something with the connectors, the one that plugs into the automatic transmission. I believe it has a bunch of wires, maybe like 8 of them, 6 or 8, I'm not too sure. There's other things that come into factor, like like the diff. His diff is welded, but I do have a lot of customers with welded diffs, automatic, no problem. So I don't know. There are the sensors on the axles on the diff that reads it when it spins. So maybe it has something to do with that, maybe not. But normally that triggers the ABS light. There's just so much to talk about possibilities. So as you can see, I tried a bunch of things on his car, and that is diagnostics. That's diagnostics. I didn't charge him anything. It has nothing to do with me. It was doing it with the other tune already. So he is gonna bring it in though. He's gonna contact the person he got the transmission from so he can get it warranted, because he said they do offer warranty, and it hasn't even been that long. He's gonna bring it in so they could swap it out here, and I'm hoping that this new transmission is gonna work. But if not, then yeah, I already talked to George, and I figured what he was gonna say, that yeah, this might be hard to diagnose. But at least I did some of the work already for George, so he doesn't have to try out like another ECU or things like that. But yeah, I was doing a lot of research, 3 to 4 in the morning. Yeah, for this guy. But okay, I think that's it. I'm gonna end this because this video is probably gonna be pretty long. I recorded a lot. Probably when I edit it, I'm only gonna remove like a minute of it, like pauses and stuff like that. But all right, now you guys can go to sleep.